Hey students, welcome you all on the behalf of RahulAnandBiologyTutorials. So as you know that I am Rahul Anand and this is somewhat around my channel whose name is actually the RahulAnandBiologyTutorial. So now let's begin with the very interesting topics which are often being asked in terms of your NEET, often the AIIMS, often the All India Pre-Medical Examination. So these are literally belonging from which of the chapters of your book? So these are belonging from the here in terms of the topics of the electrocardiogram. Now, so when we are talking about these cases, in terms of the electrocardiogram, so you have to remember the father of the electrocardiogram. So who was actually he? So his name is actually the Entheoban. So you could often find it on the board, the Entheoban. Now, so when we are talking about these cases, in terms of what? In terms of the electro, means what? Something which is related with reference to the electrical impulses, as well as the cardio, means what? Something related with reference to the heart rhythm, etc. As well as graph means what? The particular demonstration, such as we are having the different types of the waves. So these are actually what? So these are the P wave, then the Q wave, then the R wave, then the S wave, as well as the T wave. So now let's understand about this in terms of the detail. Now, so when we are talking about these cases in terms of the normal heartbeat rate, so your normal heartbeat rate will be around how much? So it is around 72 per minute. Often you are having the another things in it, such as what? So we are having the normal blood pressure. So your normal blood pressure is around how much? So it is around 120 upon 80. Here, in terms of the 120 upon 80 mm or Hg. When we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the mm or Hg? So these are actually what? So these are the unit in terms when we are talking about the case of the blood pressure. With reference to what? With reference to the normal blood pressure. As well as you are often having the normal pulse rate. So when we are talking about the normal pulse rate, so it will be around how much? So it will be started as well as originated with reference to the 60 to 100 per minute. So you could often find it on the board here. Now, so when we are talking about these cases, in terms of the 120 upon 80, so these are often being divided with reference to the two broad kind of the pressure, of course. So you are understanding about these cases, means these are known as what? So these are known as the normal blood pressure. But your pressure are often being divided as well as demonstrated under the two broad categories. So these are actually what? So these are the systolic pressure, then you are having the diastolic pressure. So in this case, the systolic will be going with reference to what? With reference to the 120. As well as when we are talking about the case of the diastolic pressure, so it will be going with reference to what? With reference to the 80 mm or Hg, where Hg is what? So Hg is actually the hydrogen case. Now, so let's talk about the different types of the waves which are literally being present with reference in terms of what? When we are talking about the case of the ECG, in terms of what? The wave which is present actually in terms of the what? In terms of the electrocardiogram. So you are having the P wave, then the QRS wave, then we are often having the T wave. So now let's understand about these, means what are actually the P wave demonstration. So P wave are directly proportional for what? So P wave directly proportional as well as control these things. In terms of what? In terms of the excitation, then the contraction of the auricles. As well as after that you are having the QRS wave. So now let's understand about these role, means what are actually the role of the QRS wave. So QRS wave playing important role in order for what? In order for the excitation, then the contraction of the ventricles. As well as in the third you are having what? So in the third you are having the T wave. So T wave particularly demonstrate what? So your T wave particularly demonstrate the relaxation of the ventricles. So you could often popularly find on here on the board here. So when we are talking about these cases in terms of the QRS wave, so these are often playing important roles in order for what? In order to track the heartbeat rate. Often when we are talking about these cases in terms of the heartbeat rate, so you are often having the increased heartbeat rate as well as the decreased heartbeat rate. As well as when we are talking about the case of the increased heartbeat rate, so these are being divided as well as given the specialized name it. So these are known as what? Tell me. So these are known as the tachycardia. So the value will be around how much? So the value is around here, in terms of the 100 per minute. Coming under what case? So these are coming under the tachycardia. As well as when we are coming under, as well as talking about the case of the bradycardia. So bradycardia means what? So the heartbeat rate, when it will be particularly decreased with reference to what value? With reference to the 60 per minute. So 60 per minute, or rather the value, when the particular heartbeat rate will be decreased from the 60 per minute, coming under what case? So it will be coming under the bradycardia cases. As well as when we are often understanding as well as clear about these, means what are actually the cardiac rhythm. Remember? So cardiac rhythm are directly proportional for the case of the heartbeat rate. Now, so when we are talking about the heart as well as the different components as well as the parts of the heart, so you are very clear about that. Remember as well as understood. So when we are talking about these cases in terms of the heart, so they are composed of what kind of the muscles? So of course these are composed of the cardiac muscles. Often when we are talking about the value as well as here in terms of the weight with reference to what? With reference to the human heart in terms of the human male. So human male will be having as well as bearing the heart with reference to how much of the grams. So it will be around here in terms of the 300 grams. But so when we are talking about the case of the human heart, so you are very clear about that. When in terms of the human male, it will be around how much? So it will be around here in terms of the 300 grams. But when we are talking about the case of the human female, so it will be around what? So it will be around quite a bit inferior in nature. Means what? Mean around 250 grams. Now, often when we are talking about the case of the heart, so these are composed of what things? So these are composed of the cardiac muscles. Remember, as well as understood what are actually the cardiac muscles? Of course. Now, as well as these are often having the certain types of the specialized portion as well as the parts in it, such as what? Such as we are having the superior vena cava. Remember the particular role. So superior vena cava are known as what? So superior vena cava playing important role in order to carry the deoxygenated blood. In order in term of what? In order in term of the right artery. As well as you are often very clear about that. Means what are actually the right artery. As well as we are often having the different components when we are talking about this, such as what? Such as the aorta. So aorta is known as what? So your aorta is particularly known as the largest artery of the body. Now, after that you are having what? So after that you are having the pulmonary what? So you are having the pulmonary vein. So when we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the pulmonary vein as well as the pulmonary artery. Remember, as well as understood about that, what are actually these? When term the pulmonary vein. So these are playing important role to carry out what? To carry the deoxygenated blood as well as transport it with reference to what? As well as transport it towards the lungs region, of course. And after that it will be proceed with reference to the another region with reference to the different geographical region of the body. And when we are talking about the case of the pulmonary artery, remember as well as understood. So these are playing important role to carry out what? To carry the deoxygenated blood as well as transport it what? As well as carry the particular deoxygenated blood from the heart region and transport it towards the lungs region. As well as in the another part we are having what? So we will be having the pulmonary vein. Remember as well as understood what are actually the role. So pulmonary vein are known as what? So these are known as the largest ventricles of the body. As well as you are often very clear about that, means what are actually the veins as well as the ventricles. Now, so when we are talking about these cases, so these are playing important role in order to carry out what? To carry out the deoxygenated blood from what? From the lungs region. As well as it will be transported with reference to what? With reference to the here main of the right artery. So when we are talking about the case of the pulmonary ventricles, so these role will be what? So these are known as the largest vein of the body. Often you are very clear about that, means what are actually the vein. Remember? So veins, we'll be understanding about that later. So these play important role to carry out what? So your pulmonary here, main term of what? Main term of the pulmonary ventricles playing important role to carry what? To carry the oxygenated blood with reference to what? With reference to the lungs region as well as transport it towards what region? As well as transport it towards the left atrium region. And you are very clear about that, means what are actually the atrium as well as the articles, often the ventricles. Remember, as well as understood about that. Now, so when we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the lungs. So you are often very clear about that. So lungs are what? So lungs are quite with the sponge organ, playing important role in order to carry out what? In order helping in term to carry out the course as well as the process of the breathing as well as the respiration. Literally, these are often helping quite a bit in terms of what? In order, so these are quite a bit helpful in order to carry out the course of the what? So these are helpful in order to carry out the case of the breathing. Remember, so breathing are known as the physiological process. Why is it so? This is due to because these are particularly being specialized with reference to the certain reason only. But when we are talking about the here, main term of the here, main term of the respiration cases. So respiration are known as what? So respiration are known as the biochemical process. Why is it so? This is due to because it is originated from the macro level as well as coming towards the micro level, or either reverse the process in term originated from the micro level as well as coming under the micro level cases. So this is somewhat the condition. Often you are having the another parts in it, such as what? So you are having the aorta. Remember, so aorta is known as what? So aorta is known as the largest artery of the body. Now, so when we are talking about these cases, so you will be often having the Purkinje fiber as well as the stenodes as well as the large nodes, often the right atrium as well as the left ventricles as well as the right ventricles as well as the right articles. Then you will be often having the inferior vena cava as well as the another part such as the aorta, often the mixed chamber. As well as when we are talking about these cases in terms of the human heart, so our human heart is particularly being divided in terms of what? In terms of the four chambers. So you are often very clear about that, means what are actually the four chamber heart. But when we are talking about the another cases in terms of the amphibians, as well as what? As well as the marine animals, as well as in the case of the reptiles. So the quite bit case will be quite bit different. So we'll be understanding about that later. Now, after that, when we are talking about these cases in terms of the human heart circulation, so it will be specialized from the many reasons such as the superior vena cava. After that what? After that you will be having the right atrium. Then what? Then the right ventricle. Then what? Then you are having the here many terms the pulmonary valve. Then what? Then the pulmonary atrium. As well as you will be often having the certain more parts in it. Such as what? Such as after that you will be having the lungs. Then what? Then you will be having the left here many terms the atrium, then the left ventricles. As well as after that what? After that we'll be going with reference to the rest of the portion of the body. So you could often popularly find here on the board here. So here is somewhat the condition. Now let's understand about these cases in terms of the details. Such as what? Such as the human heart circulation. So it will be originated with reference to these regions. Such as what? Such as the superior vena cava. Then we will be having the right atrium. Then the right ventricles. As well as you will be often having what? So you will be having the pulmonary valve. Then after that you will be having the pulmonary what? The pulmonary atrium. Then you will be having the case of the lungs. As well as what? So after that you will be having the right here main term the atrium. Then you will be having the right ventricle. Then what? Then to the rest of the portion of the body. As well as when we are talking about these cases, so before the rest of the portion of the body, you will be having the aorta ridge. As well as when we are talking, as well as understanding about the case of the aorta. So you are very clear about that. So aorta are known as what? So these are known as the largest artery with reference to our body. So when we are talking about these cases, so this is some other condition. When we are talking about the case of the ECG, in terms of what? In terms of the electrocardiogram, in which we have understood about the cases of the normal heartbeat rate, as well as what? Often what are actually the bradycardia as well as the bradycardia. Often we have understood about the certain names of the scientists, so who played an important role to demonstrate, as well as known as what? As well as known as the father of the ECG, in terms of the electrocardiogram. Remember? So his name is actually the Entheo Ware. Often we have understood about the beat introduction, means what are actually the heart, as well as what are actually the certain parts of the heart, such as the superior vena cava, the inferior vena cava, often the aorta, as well as what? Often the right atrium, then the left atrium, as well as the left ventricles, as well as the pulmonary valve, as well as the pulmonary atrium. Often we have understood about the beat introduction, means what are actually the Purkinje fibers. So Purkinje fibers are nothing special. So these are having the stanodes as well as the lanodes. We will be understanding about that later. So I thought you have got the concept, means what are actually these. So you could often write these. So if you like the work with reference to the education as well as the lectures, as well as what? As well as the videos. So you could often do what? So you could often subscribe, then like, as well as comment below in the text. Thus I'll be knowing that what concept actually you are hungry for, or what haven't you understood or either got. So maybe thank you with reference to what? With reference to the Rahul Anand tutorial. So please like, subscribe, then share my lectures. Very thank you. So write these. Very thank you.